Hi everyone, my name is Kayla Fletcher and I'm the creator of the website quietbodies.com. Today is our fourth tutorial in our six-part tutorial series on the classical mat Pilates exercises. So in this series we're just troubleshooting common questions that come up in my live group classes that we do over Zoom. And so if you want to find out a little bit more about that, you can head over to my website. Today's tutorial, we're going to be talking about rolling and unrolling our spine, so round back and rolling exercises in our classical mat Pilates practice. These exercises require full spinal flexion, and if you are doing a classical mat Pilates practice, it's tricky to get away from doing full spinal flexion. So today, we're going to talk about what commonly goes wrong in our rolling exercises and why. And then I'm going to teach you 3 pre-Pilates exercises that are going to help prep you, or little inserts that you can put into your practice or your client's practice to help strengthen your body to make your success in your roll-up, your rollover, and your rolling like a ball more successful. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to talk about our half roll back first. So I'll show you the exercise. Your knees are bent, your legs are together. There's a few different arm variations and just choreographic variations, but to keep it simple, today we'll reach the arms straight ahead. You press the knees together and you keep your feet planted on the floor. So that's the first thing that commonly goes wrong, is people's feet lift up, right? Every Pilates exercise is a full body exercise. So I'm already pressing down into my feet, squeezing my legs together, engaging through my seat and my postural muscles to sit up tall. My arms are plugged into my back. It's almost as if I'm pushing down into an imaginary table with my arms. Now, we want to get into a round lower back. So I'm going to start to curl my tailbone under. I'm going to pull my waist back. Okay, and eventually I'm going to feel my lower back connect to the ground. Now, notice how my shoulders are staying relatively forward. So that's the second thing that commonly goes wrong, is people let this go. We want to keep the front of the body short and the back of the body long, but everything's round. Now, exhale, you're going to round forward. Think about bringing your forehead over top of your shins and keep your stomach away from your thighs. Your spine looks like a capital letter C. You tuck the tail, you roll back, and then you curl forward. So considering what it means to unroll and roll your spine. So I initiate from here. Okay, the gaze goes straight ahead. And then I still think about my waist pulling back as I round forward. When you teach this to someone for the first time, usually what happens is they do this. They just lean back. These next 2 variations are something that's really going to explain the concept of getting into these exercises and initiating these exercises from rounding your lower back. So for the elbow slip, you come down onto your forearms. Your legs are still in the same position. You're going to push down into your forearms so that you're not just collapsed here. And then again, you pull everything towards you. So think about pulling your hip bones towards your ribs. So this stretches your lower back. It starts to work on that mobility and strengthens your core. It also engages through your seat, your inner thighs. So this is all your powerhouse, if that word means something to you. And it also makes sure that your hip flexors are starting to open, right? We don't want to be in our hip flexors our whole mat class. So we're going to start off with a single arm. I'm going to try to keep my body really still. I'm going to slide my left arm. I'm going to grab my thigh. I'm going to make sure my body stays symmetrical. And then I'm going to bring my elbow back down, switching sides. Okay, you'll notice one side is harder than the other. So you're in this really uncomfortable zone. And I actually do grab my arm, or I grab my leg with my arm. And then other side. Okay, now we go for the hard part, both arms. I'm going to try to stay still, slide my arms forward, and then back. So you notice that was harder. My feet tried to lift off, so I'm going to push them down. I'm going to deepen my scoop and lift, and then go back. Okay, one more time. And I usually ask my clients to hold for a few split seconds, pull their waist deeper, okay? And then we're going to roll all the way up.
So the last variation is the most intense variation, and it requires your client to, or you rather, to be able to have the ability to be in a really tight, compact position. So I wouldn't necessarily go to this variation first. It's a really nice add-in to really reiterate the concept of initiating from here. So your knees are bent, your elbows rest on your forearms, and you're sitting up with a straight spine. I'm pushing my elbows into my thighs, and it's really important that your elbows remain in firm contact with your thighs the whole time. I'm going to push down into my elbows. I literally feel the pressure I've created, and I'm going to start to pull my waist back. Okay, now I keep pushing my elbows down and forward, and I keep pulling my waist back. So you can see this looks like the smallest version, but I actually feel the most work. And then I'm going to slide back up again. So the whole point with this, round, drag your elbows, is to isolate, rounding your lower back without leaning your shoulders backwards in space. So a common thing that goes wrong in our rolling exercises, like all of them actually, is that we lead from the upper spine. If you lead from your upper spine and you're rolling like a ball, you just fall, you can't roll back up again. Okay, so how does that all apply to the exercises that are actually in the original series? So we'll do them in the order that they would be in, obviously excluding the ones that are in between. So roll up would be first, and you're going to start laying down on your back. Now you notice I have a sheepskin underneath me, which is a little unconventional, but if you're practicing at home with a yoga mat, sometimes that's a little too thin. Pilates mats are usually really squishy and offer some give and some cushion so that your body has some feedback to roll into. So I would play with things that you have at home. I also have been known to practice Pilates a lot on a carpet. Your arms are going to reach to the ceiling. Your ribs are pressing down into the ground. Your legs are squeezing together, your feet are flexed. You're going to curl up and you're going to look at your toes. Keep squeezing the thighs together and reach forward. So now here, my spine is still round. My arms are still plugged into my back. So it looks very similar to this, right? But now you're getting a little bit more of a stretch. Now I'm going to lead with this California curl or this tailbone tucking under. I want to keep my shoulders forward for as long as possible. Keep your eyeballs on your toes until finally you have to look at the ceiling. Again, you curl. Now I'm thinking about waist back. So this is going that way as this is going that way. Okay, then tucking and rolling all the way down. Okay, I'm just going to do one more and then I'm going to transition into my roll up. Exhale. Right, I talked about that breath. I'm just going to scoot forward so I have enough room for my body. I'm going to roll all the way down, breathing out all of my air, right? I'm purifying my body. Your arms are going to go down by your side. Now your arms are important. They're going to press down. Now if you have the abdominal strength, you can lift the legs straight up, or if you really find your back arches, you can bring your legs up to tabletop. Okay, so this is more of a high-level, intermediate, advanced exercise, so I wouldn't attempt this exercise until you've been practicing Pilates for quite some time. Legs reach straight up towards the ceiling, your arms push down. I'm going to use my curl of my pelvis to roll up. So first option is to keep the legs horizontal. Okay, if you're a little more flexible, you can tap your toes down. I separate my feet stay flexed, and I roll down, keeping my arms pressing into the ground the whole time. My legs go on the diagonal and they come together. Again, I'm going to push into my arms. I'm going to curl to lift my pelvis off the mat. Tap toes, separate, roll down. So I'm just going to do 2 of those. Okay, so I'm just going to bring my knees together and rock up. So I'm going to share 2 things of what commonly goes wrong with that roll up. Usually people just like throw their legs over, like you can see, like all my muscle imbalances just became apparent, right? Because I used momentum, I didn't control where I was, now my legs are off to the side. I feel pressure in my neck, I don't feel support in my spine. Okay, so that's like the first thing. The second thing, people won't even have the ability to come up, okay? And if that's your client or that's you, you're just gonna wait. You're gonna practice more Pilates and you're gonna wait for it to get stronger. Rolling like a ball. So this is where you're maintaining the shape and rolling with it. So grabbing your ankles, you do a little bit of that California curl behind your sit bones. You bring your knees into your chest and you look down. Okay, I'm still initiating this exercise the same way. I'm gonna curl my tail under, rock back, and curl to rock up. I'm gonna try to keep my whole spine straight. So now I'm not gonna talk so I can focus on my breath and watch how it improves. Right, now I can do it because I'm focusing. Okay, curling my head. And then one more time. So you can see I'm maintaining my shape and initiating with that round back. So something that goes wrong with the rolling like a ball, people lead with their shoulders, and then this happens. And then they can't get back up again. And then they have to kind of use momentum. So if I curl, initiate from my lower back, then I have the shape, right? This is my favorite joke in class, like the Flintstones era, right? They're inventing the wheel, the cavemen are inventing the wheel, and it's square. It doesn't really roll, right? So they carve a round edge. Rolls better, right? But it's still not smooth. And then finally, when they decide to make the whole thing a circular movement, does the chariot start to roll, right? So you want to think, are you making every part of your spine round, or are there sharp edges to it that are preventing it from rolling? Okay, so that takes time, and always going back to those first 3 exercises are what's going to help you achieve success in these last 3 exercises that I showed you. So if you have any questions, feel free to go to my website. You can reach out to me directly. My email's at the bottom, and you can also comment below. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you found this helpful.